And sometimes I don't know what is the strength of the Filipino, because we have several crises, one after another, political, nature, and then family. But in spite of that, don't you notice that the Filipinos smile a lot?
Yes, that's true. In fact, I find it very similar to my own Indian culture.
Yes.
I have a feeling, see, this is not to take anything away from the Europeans, because we have to be grateful to the Europeans that they brought the faith to us.
Yes.
And there are also lots of Europeans who still are very fervently Catholic and continue believing. But the general state of affairs is not very rosy, as we know. And yet, when you come to the Asian countries, you move down to Asia, there is the joy of living. The joy of living that goes on in spite of all the problems that we have. See, I compare Filipinos or the Philippine nation very much to great parts of India. Goa, from where I come from, is largely Catholic, a very joyous people. Just like that's why I find myself very much at home with the Filipinos, because you might have problems, but there's always a smile on your face.
Yes.
In fact, a German lady once told me, I can't understand. She was for the first time in Bombay.
Yeah.
She entered the slums, and she said there were children who came smiling at her. And she said, I can't understand how they can live in that dirt, not have food to eat, and they can't smile, and they can still smile.
Yes.
I think this is something very similar. Filipinos might have their problems, the survival problem, the problems of getting their daily survival, and yet the joy which is within, which is a second nature to them, comes out when you meet them. It's nice to see joyous people all around the place, and I hope the Filipinos never lose that. I really hope. Because
I hope so.
When riches come, the first thing it can take away is your smile.
Yes.
In fact, Kahil Gibran has a nice saying. He says, luxury enters into your house like a guest,
Yes.
and then she remains like a mistress. She takes control of it. We have to be very careful about that.
Yes. And so I really appreciate that you were able to distinguish, that in our faith there's still also a culture that needs to be nourished, that needs to be continued, that needs to be appreciated, and that you said we should not lose it, Whatever culture that we have, Filipinos are what they are, as you have seen during your short stay here. And then, now, what does the Pontifical Council of Culture expect, from this trip after, I'm sure you're going to make another trips in other parts of the country. What is really your primary purpose, is